Do you know what stage you're at of your Pokemon grading card journey? If you don't, well today you're going to find out. I've come up with a list of 5 stages of the Pokemon grader based on my own experiences having graded Pokemon cards in the last 2 years and of the experiences of others around me. Hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to be able to identify what level of your Pokemon grading journey you're on. So let's get straight into it. So stage 1 for all you noobs out there. So stage 1, you're typically someone who doesn't grade cards at all. You'd be someone who has a binder collection. You'd be an assortment of binders in your collection. You've thought about grading cards before, but you just haven't done it. You would consider potentially grading some cards in your collection that are nostalgic to you, maybe something you've had from your childhood. Maybe you've got like a first edition base set Charizard and you've said, oh, one day I'm going to grade that card so I can look after it for another 20 years. Or maybe it's something you've pulled more recently, something modern. You've pulled an Umbreon VMAX, super expensive card, and you want to grade it for your collection. The other thing that you would normally do as a stage 1 Pokemon grader is you probably just buy cards graded yourself. You don't want to go through the hassle and all that stuff of having to go and get cards graded. You'll just rather buy them outright for your collection. So stage 2, you're not so much of a noob anymore. You've actually decided that you are going to send a handful of cards to PSA to get graded. But the caveat is, you're not going to send them yourself. You're going to send them with the middleman. You're typically worried about sending stuff overseas. It's been something that's kind of irked you before, but you are going to start sending a handful of cards. Stage 3, so you've got your cards back. You were stage 2 before. You sent some cards with a middleman. You sent like a handful of cards. You finally got those back. You're in stage 3 and you're going, wow, I actually enjoy grading cards, and I think I might do this myself, or I might send some more cards with the middleman. So typically what happens during stage 3 is you start doing a few little subs throughout the year. So it might be like 5 cards here, 1 card there. You're starting to dabble in some other cards you like. It's not so much more the nostalgic cards anymore. You're like, oh, maybe I'll start looking at how I could do a set, or doing this or that, and collecting, more specific cards outside that original nostalgic set that you set. So in summary, stage 3, you're starting to send a couple of cards a year. This is whether it be through a middleman, or you've kind of considered sending it yourself. You might be sending it yourself, or you might not be. You might still be using the middleman. Stage 4, you're now kind of like on a path grading cards. You are not so much sending just like 5 or 6 here and there. You're starting to send like continuous submissions throughout the year. So periodically, on a monthly, 2-monthly basis, you might be sending 25 to 30 cards to PSA, and you're actually starting to consider, well, how can I make some money off this? You've thought about, flipping some cards. You've thought about, okay, well, if I send 30 cards and 5 of these I want to keep, maybe those other 25 cards that I send, I can actually use those to offset the cost of the ones I wanted to keep by selling those into the market. And you're kind of in this position where you're going like, oh man, I'm really enjoying this. Maybe you're trying to actually complete some sets. There is a PSA set registry for that. If you haven't heard of it, it allows you to look at basically it basically allows you to track against a set of cards, whether it be like a set like base set, Evolving Skies, or you can actually track against a certain species of cards. So something like a Tyranitar or Dragonite, there might be a set for collecting all the Tyranitar's in a PSA 10. The other thing that happens as a stage 4 is you're actually starting to get quite a large collection of graded cards, and you're starting to spend more time getting graded cards and spending time actually finishing binders and things like that. Stage 5, the final stage of the Pokemon grader that based on my own opinion, this is like where you get to the top level. So the stage 5 Pokemon grader is someone who's like fully fledged. They're sending potentially thousands of cards a year. They're almost talking about they either have or they have started talking about making their own business out of this. You're doing stuff like multiple trading card games. Maybe you've got to the stage where you're offering your own middleman services, where you're actually middlemaning through a business or something like that. But basically, as a stage 5 Pokemon grader, you're sending like a lot of cards to PSA, you're getting a lot of cards back, you're reselling these, you're adding some stuff to your collection, and overall you're just like at the top of your game in terms of grading. So what I want to know from you today is, what stage are you at of your Pokemon grading journey? So stage 1, you haven't done it, you're just a newbie, you've considered it before. Stage 2, you might have sent a couple of cards off with a middleman, but you're still like, oh, I'm scared of sending cards overseas, this is like a massive thing. Stage 3, you've actually been sending a couple of submissions, you might have started sending them yourself, or you're still using the middleman. Stage 4, you're sending on a periodic basis, maybe 20 to 30 cards a month, you're starting to consider how you can resell and actually make some money off this to keep cards for your collection at no cost. And stage 5, you're just fully fledged, you've optimized, you're doing multiple TCGs, you're reselling, you're running a business, people know about you, and you're killing it. If someone was to ask me what stage I'm at of my Pokemon grading journey, I think I'd probably say I'm a stage 3.5, stage 3.5, because somewhere in between the stage 3 and the 4, you know, I'm someone who's had experience grading cards. I do send them off periodically, so I think that puts me in the 3 category. But then I am also sending a lot of cards now. You know, I'm not going to hide behind a rock and say, oh, I don't resell cards. I do resell cards. I've been pretty successful in selling cards since I started, I think. Not at any large scale, but doing a couple hundred cards a year, and that's allowed me to grow my collection so much. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what stage you are at. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.